whole body, you go dance. Shake body, shake and bounce. Shake body, shake and bounce. When you feel your whole body bounce, you go dance. I don't like Jijo, I like shawarma, but not too much calories, so I chop banana. 180, 180, put your head like bandana. Make I show you my Ghana style, Charlie Aquaba. On the beaty, beaty bounce, head bounce, shake body, shake and bounce.
to Megatron real quick?
Your favorite restaurants now deliver with DoorDash. Delicious at your door. Download DoorDash. First order, no delivery fee. They call me Megatron, just did a telethon. He got my jealous on, and I get my jealous on. I fuck him like I miss him. He just came out of prison. Bitches be talking shit, but they ain't got a pot to piss in. My name is Nikki M. I'm in a sticky Benz. That mean it's candy apple red. I'm Barbie, this is Ken. That is a 50 fact. I'm with 100 max. Oh, this is custom made. Donatella sent me that. Feel love, baby, feel on me. Pull up if you feeling lonely. Feel love, baby, feel on me. Pull up if you feeling lonely. Shots, I'm drinking. It's better when I'm drinking. I tune up when I'm drinking. Rum when I'm shots, I'm drinking. It's better when I'm drinking. I tune up when I'm drinking. Rum when I'm They call me Shorty's a mega con. It ain't about the race either, it's the marathon. I put the squeeze on him, go with the bees on him. That ass clapping on the D, Hercules on him. My name is Batty Batty, I keep it tight as Zaddy. He keep it coming, he ain't even drop the Addy. Trunk in the front, I need a blunt. I own my own Moscato, bitch, we getting drunk. Feel love, baby, feel on me. Pull up if you feeling lonely. Feel love, baby, feel on me. Pull up if you feeling lonely. Shots, I'm drinking. It's better when I'm drinking. I tune up when I'm drinking. Rum when I'm shots, I'm drinking. It's better when I'm drinking. I tune up when I'm drinking. Rum when I'm bite me, that excite me. He said it's my pussy. If you eating it, do it precisely. Cause I'm a millionaire, this pussy pricey. He said it's my pussy. My pussy. Cause I'm a millionaire, this pussy pricey. Feel love, baby, feel on me. Pull up if you feeling lonely.
Swing on somebody today.
Feel love, baby, feel on me. Pull up if you feeling lonely. Shots, I'm drinking. It's better when I'm drinking. I tune up when I'm drinking. Rum when I'm shots, I'm shots, I'm drinking. Rum when I'm
I feel like dealing with certain people. They just get on my damn nerves. Just like,
for over 4 generations,
instigators, fires could actually sit down in a room with me today. So I just go like this. In your face. Right here. It's how you say coffee in the back. In Italian. What are they doing? What the fuck are they doing in my house? Ask them that fucking question. They're doing surveillance. Ask them that question.
I like diamonds, I like stunning, I like shining, I like $1 million deals. Where's my pen? Bitch, I'm signing. I like those Balenciagas, the ones that look like socks. I like going to the Tula. I put rocks all in my watch. I like texts from my exes when they want a second chance. I like proving niggas wrong. I do what they say I can't. They call me Cardi, big body, spicy mommy, hot tamale, hotter than a Somali. Burn, cold, fuck, Rari, hop up the stoop, jump in the coupe. Dip on top of the roof, flexing on bitches as hard as I can. del culo la dominicana. Lo rico que me chinga la venezolana. Andamos activos, perico pim pim. Billetes de 100 en el maletín. Que retumbe el bajo y Valentín. Yeah. Aquí prohibido amar, dile charitín. Que per pico le tengo caritín. Yo llego a la disco y se forma el motín. Como Celia Cruz tengo el azúcar. Tú que va medio y se fue de pecho como Ginny Luca. Te vamos a tumbar la peluca y arranca pa'l carajo, cabrón, que a ti no te va a pasar la boca. Mi tía y Valenciaga me reciben en la entrada. Sí, like I'm Lady Gaga. Y no te me hagas, quien come de mi punto piso mi cara.
Have anything else to say to you guys? One second. Hey, I'm checking in with myself to see if I have anything to say to you. Oh, this must be for entertainment purposes only then. Nope, still nothing to say to you. Yeah. people try to take the joy out of doing certain things, but they don't do anything themselves. How you criticize, you don't do nothing. And that is the final segment, because silence can be golden, but only if you contributed something. If you didn't, then you should probably keep your peace. Have nothing to say because you have nothing to contribute. A lot of people will spend their time monitoring and criticizing you what you're not doing, but they don't do nothing themselves except for monitor and criticize you. And then when you do something, you can never really please them. It's not like they're looking to be pleased. They're not looking to be pleased. So, when I make my video today, consider it something very valuable. Do it for the joy of me. I'm the one who gets the greatest benefit out of doing it, regardless of whether you understand it or don't. And, for the most part, who is it that's criticizing me? Somebody who has nothing to contribute in the first place. Why don't you upload your video of you dancing in your living room in your swimsuit today? It's not that easy, is it? When you have to do it. So then, probably shut the fuck up. And that should be the going notion for anybody, for the rest of their life. That there are going to be a lot of people who are going to tell you that you're doing things against the odds, this is not going to work, and then, like, there's nothing set in stone in reality. Like, when you really look at everybody's life throughout history, no one is following a set path. There is no set path. Therefore, follow your own path and stop trying to please everybody. You live so much more happier than that way. Because the more you try to rationalize your creative process of what you're doing, like, not to say that you don't sit down and think about it. I sit down, I watch my videos, I think about them. At the same time, I also think, it's like, if I don't do anything, then I didn't do nothing. And the same people who are criticizing, like, the same people who sit down and criticize, they meet you in person, they like everything that you do about you. They tell them a little bit about you. The little things, the highlight reels. They love the highlight reels, but the highlight reels are also the culmination of the not so highlight reels. Like, on paper it might sound nice, but all the other stuff is actually nicer. All the other stuff was way more nicer. No one wants to hear that you got a bachelor's degree, really. They want to hear what you do in your pastime, your meantime, and the other elective courses that you did, or what you learned as your personal project, your senior thesis. That's what they really want to hear. They don't want to hear that you majored in this, really. The few people who do probably frauds themselves. They probably even get the degree. They probably just lied just to get a job. You need to start calling schools now, motherfuckers. It's true, though. You know it's true. That's the sad part. You know it's true. Very few people, at the end of the day, will really match up who they say they were. And what's most important for you is to live most genuinely for you. Not to say that you're not trying to meet some standard. Your standard will exist when you start to do your own work. Like, I'm not trying to make a YouTube video or YouTube channel that's going to be like anybody else, because I'm not like everybody else. First of all, walk in person. Half the people who spend the most of the time curating their YouTube video can't walk out in person and sit in the same room. They're all feeling shaky. So then what am I trying to curate myself to be? Like, why am I trying to curate myself, you know what I mean, to be something that, like, God made me, not the YouTube video. It's what is in me that makes a YouTube video. So it's just like, why would I downgrade myself? Like, 20 people try to get you to downgrade their gifts in order for them to make sense of their own gifts. Like, I don't have to downgrade your video. I'll watch your video afterwards, but I don't have to sit down and try to make my life like everybody knows that every gift that they got has come out of some form of weakness. Like the person who does the best makeup probably has the worst skin. Like realistically, like why are they good at that? Like some form of weakness. Therefore, like why would I try to develop a strength and a weakness that I don't have? You might not need certain gifts because you have other things. And other gifts exist specifically for. Look, I probably have certain gifts because I don't like to fuck with everybody. I stand by myself. I pick things off of people, and I'm like, your energy. Like, I can sit down and I can speak negative, but my negative is usually on something that I personally, like, when I look back at it, and when I talk to other people, I'm like, the things that I'm most upset about are usually things that matter 10 years from now. You say, oh, it's just like, no, things that upset me are principled things. Real principled things, you know what I mean, that pass after I'm gone. Motherfuckers, some of the things you guys say is positive. You guys be talking positive, talking shit about other people. How are you really like a genuine person? Therefore, it's just like you can sit in that type of company. I can't sit in that type of company. Like, you're like, oh, they're so negative, but you spend your entire time talking about them. They were talking about their own personal experience. Like, how is talking about your personal experience a negative, but talking about a person is not a negative? You ever think about that part? That's the funny thing about people. They'll tell you everything about somebody else, and while they're telling you about somebody else, they don't consider that that's actually the worst habit. That's why when I make my video, I think about it, and I'm like, what am I really upset about? I'm like, not too much on this part. It's more of what I gotta interact with. I'm like, ugh. But I guess that could be everybody too. That could be everybody. I don't know. I'm by myself sitting on Twitter or talking in forums. I don't really feel the need to do those things. I might talk to you one on one. I could really have a full conversation with myself, not like full out conversation, but I could literally have like a Socratic philosophical. I hate that word. My mom made me hate that word. But literally, like you could sit down and just like have like a rational 3-page monologue, research paper. Sit down, write and speak my own research paper about human beings and the fragments of our reality. I'm still 100% convinced that we're all related, and it was some weird, ongoing tribal warfare that has created all the differences in people. That's it. It was tribal warfare that created all these differences in people. And most of the tribal warfares come from, it could be as simple as a sibling. Like, it's just jealousy. It's just jealousy. Somebody tell you that it's not worth having your gift. They go paint their face a different way, trying to be like you, or emulating something else that they think is going to scare you. Put it on their child. Put it on their other than their next offspring. Convince the entire village, and then try to mess with your trade. Like, come on, history rewritten, not rewritten, reiterated and fragmented to really look at the nastiness of people. That's really what we have when people are like, what's this? It's just like people don't like you having your individual gifts, and they will spend so much time trying to perpetrate as it and fight you for it. And that's where all the division comes, because it's like if people could just sit comfortably in their own gift, that we would all benefit. It's just like at the end of the day, have you ever seen anybody try to copycat something and do better than the person who created it? Really, like, no, you just have like you just get 5 generations of it being diluted down, diluted down, diluted down, till no one really uses it anymore, understands what it's being used for anymore, then you gotta wait for somebody to rediscover the same damn thing. The originator spirit has returned. Act like people don't sit down, plot people's murders, plot entire genocides. Like, I sit down and I think about that before I start thinking about a person. I'm just like, how does this one small action actually play out into the old? I guess that's because I'm a theater major. Like, how does this one small action play out into the overall? I'm just like, this is an ego battle between A, B, and C, but these two right here seem to relate to each other and their weaknesses because they're against this one person, A, that seems to be doing a little bit better than them. But get rid of A, and those two will start eventually fighting each other too. And so then you went from what? European French to Italian. They're both Europeans. They don't like each other. That was history. They don't like each other. Then you go to Germany. They don't like you. They don't like you. Then it's just my mom told me about the tribals in Africa. I even look at some of like the little things they do in the neighborhood. And I'm like, yo, I don't look like these motherfuckers. Like, I'd be damn. I take a title just to say that we are the same. We are not the same. Like, we are not the same. Your mouth like this because you spend all your time pursing your lip at somebody. It's the same as you. You have a funny face. Some people really, you really start to really study certain things. Really study certain things. Like when you start to meet the standard of things, you start noticing when people are a little off, man. You start meeting certain standards, you notice when people are off. You know, I don't even care how much they figured out how to market and curate their PR to sound like they're the real thing. Like, you ever hear somebody say some beautiful thing and you start looking at like their disposition, you're like, there's no way you can have this in your spirit. And it come out, it manifests like this. Like that's not how atoms vibrate. That's not how atoms vibrate. Spend 5 hours with them, and it turns out that they only like that for like this much. It's all people, but you know, we get deceived by people on their bullshit. Like, you're like, oh, that glitter is not gold. I was like, shit's still not gold either, though. Like, shit. All that glitters is not gold, but shit is still not gold either. Trying to convince me that something can't be pleasing and nice at the same time. What, so I'm supposed to take the not so pleasing thing just to make to what? To what? I might have a different reality. I just accept that, you know what I mean? Like, I just accept that. Just like, first of all, the Bible says I'm not supposed to agree with every female in the first place. The Bible tells me the majority of the females are the ones you gotta watch out for. So it's just like if I find myself colluding all the time, it's like everyone's wicked to some degree. Men don't get their shit together until they're trying to please a woman. So then it's just like, what are you dealing with? Dealing with a whole group of abominations at that day. It's like, who the fuck is the standard? Who the fuck is the standard? The Virgin Mary. You know, you start to really break things down. Fucking Virgin Mary. She became the standard. She was the only one that was finally able to bear a resemblance of a male that would make sense to our society. And she was different. She was even different than Martha. And we thought Martha had it like that. We thought because Martha had all her ducks in a row. I only think that's important because I remember the lesson I did when I was living in New York. The priest was like, do you realize that the name Martha and Mary shows up multiple times? He said there's two types of women that are godly, and the rest of them are pretty much like, I mean, even Proverbs says it, that it's just like charm is deceptive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all of us are going to appear one way to you guys, and it's just like, in reality, only a few people really going to have their shit together. Why are you going to spend the rest of your life trying to copycat people who don't got their shit together to find out on your deathbed? You know, withered away all the good things in you from your youth, acting like these adult sinners. That's the rest of my video. Why did it get so serious though?